If you follow me on Bluesky, you've heard me talking about like these criminal organizations I've been listening to interviews about, because this guy seems to know stuff. He lived a lot in South America. He married a Venezuelan prostitute. He wasn't into having sex with her or nothing. But he did marry the prostitute. Don't tell me this story about the prostitute. I wasn't into having sex with her or nothing. He loved her immediately, which he did. It's good. But, sorry. Anyways, so he talks about how Albanian criminals are like infiltrating the police and they're very tech savvy. He steals bank information from people, and then he goes to London and he gives it to Albanians and Nigerians. The reason I got so interested in Albanians is because they were the first on the list when it's listing countries that are the number one source of sex traffickers or sex trafficking of sex trafficking victims, because there's Albania and then Moldova. And I would never not go like Romania. Yeah. And so I looked up Dua Lipa and her mom. I love her. She's kind of like Katy Perry, except she's definitely not Katy Perry. She's definitely not like, she's not as verbose. Katy Perry's friendlier probably, but like her mom is like sexy as hell sometimes. And that's why I think her mom might end up being a slave prostitute for me in Las Vegas. Wow. Anyways, and you never know about Dua Lipa, because Dua Lipa might be on the naughty list, but let's hope that Dua Lipa is not on the naughty list. Because, I mean, Dua Lipa's pretty good looking. She's pretty talented. Anyway, so he got robbed in Cancun. My brother always goes to Cancun. He married a Venezuelan prostitute. He doesn't like watching Premier League games because he knows the games are fixed. That's exactly what I tell you about, like, watching Peyton Manning in the fourth quarter. Peyton Manning, oh my gosh, he's so good at throwing the ball in the fourth quarter. Only. Are you good at throwing the ball always or only during the fourth quarter? He deals with bikers and Africans, especially, it sounds like. But he says American gangs run things. He uses Scotiabank, and he talks about how violent and stuff like that. But like, it was pretty interesting listening to him talk, because it's like, you actually know who like the higher up criminals are. Yeah. But it sounds like what he's doing is he really likes stealing bank information and selling it in London, which like, like he talks about like this guy like showing up with burned off fingertips because like his fingerprints were gone. And he was talking about how people, all of them have plastic surgery. She would have plastic surgery, for sure. That's Lady Antebellum. That's Hillary Scott, which I mean, it looks like, what's her name? Erin Burnett. The other super long interview I listened to was Meet Miami's Wildest Gangster by the Connect Pod, who, is a Miami boy, which like we might just call ourselves white boys, the white people. Like he hangs out with a lot of folks, and his workout partner was a folk. And like what we've talked about is Donald Trump's Miami detective who was investigating him is dead, because like they were investigating Virginia, who came from the spa at Mar-a-Lago. If you don't think the investigation is of Trump, you're very confused, because the prostitute came from the spa at Trump's place. Like, because you're the most confused person I've ever heard of if you don't get that. And that's why Trump, like, building this memorial at Arlington National Cemetery for, like, those people was like, no, she came from your spa. But the guy who doesn't get it is a guy that does know for a fact what he does, which is thousands of girls were trafficked by Epstein, and his family is in the brothel business. So this guy talks about how he gets his packs in Miami, but like his drug connection is in Atlanta. If you remember, Atlanta's district attorney is who's after Trump, Fani Willis. So Trump's really afraid of Fani. She's folk though. We can just tell her no, or we can mess with her head. So he says Haitians, Cubans, Jamaicans, we knife first. His partner's GD. People don't come to our city. Miami boys are the ones that come to your city. My dad was a product of the heroin era. I didn't know there was a heroin era back before. He says everyone was on the take back then. Like, so like the criminals would kill someone related to drugs, and then they would just like leave a half kilo of cocaine on him and dump cocaine all over him. And then if the cop was investigating, he'd be like, well, I'm looking at the crime scene. Clearly there's cocaine here. It's drug related. We know what happened. F those people. We don't care, because everyone was on the take back then. Probably that guy was on the take back then. And Fani would be clearly like the one black, we gave a black person a job. The super criminals did. And we didn't pick one of the GD Like they're Black Panthers. Like if you listen to Gang Bang Anyway by The Game and Schoolboy Q, he's talking about like the FBI knows it's the Black Panthers. Trust me, I can say this. No one's going to get mad at me ever that I told you guys it's the Black Panthers, because no one that actually gets it knows that. Yeah. In summary, I've talked about how the black people are like the top criminals. Like they're actually like the gang that Trump would be in favor of. And that's why he pardons NBA Youngboy. That's why he has Snoop at the inauguration. That's why he has like the very, 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 very top terrorist black people like around him. Like he would definitely never not want to go hang out with the terrorist black people, because the black people are terrorists. If you've listened to Savage 21 from Atlanta, from Fannie Willis's district, because she's the lawyer who has to go after you. The cops arrest you, but it's all about the lawyer. Like more than anything, you have to have the DA's office. That's really what matters when it comes to criminal organizations. You don't have to have every single cop, but you have to have the DA's office. And so he talks about how Atlanta is a pedophile and how there are pedophiles there. So this guy always rents Dodge Durangos. So my brother drove a Dodge Ram, but he had a driver for him. Like a lot of the time, the super criminals that are driving drugs all the time will like hire someone to drive for them. Like it happens a lot, I think, in other countries also, and also like in Los Angeles, like a person will have a driver for them, and that way, like if they get busted, they won't get in trouble. But like with like renting a Durango before you drive drugs, like if he gets busted, he rented it. It's not his car. Are you kidding me? Like he can go to court and have a very good defense that that's not his car. And I know a guy who rents for Enterprise. I definitely knew him like when I was very, very young, a very young child, who was out of college. Like I'd already graduated from college. I worked with him in insurance. All right, so I just finished watching this this interview with this guy Bo Diddley, who Rick Ross talks about, and Rick Ross is like a top gangster guy. Bo Diddley apparently got pardoned by Trump, but he didn't. He used a Second Chance Act to get this guy out of jail. He was accused of having 8 or 9 or 10 corrupted judges. A lot of people who work in the judicial system, they sell drugs. They claim I was involved with a lot of police corruption, judges and stuff. He's from Miami, so the Epstein files are about not him. But who did he marry? A prostitute from Miami, or like she's who made him the most money. I think that a lot of the time they use prostitutes to sell drugs, and the girl doesn't even realize she's a prostitute because she's so afraid of the fact she's selling drugs. She's so distracted she doesn't even like. It's like, okay, I have to be a prostitute to do this. It's like Avril dating Tyga. So Donald Trump was the best thing that ever happened to us. Say what you want. He helped a lot of black folks. Don't tell him that Convertible Burt influenced a generation of criminals. Convertible Burt, he's not the guy. No, that was Isaac Hicks. Isaac Hicks is the guy. Convertible Burt is not the guy. No. So, I don't even know who that guy is. I didn't watch the documentary yet. So, like, he owned a rental car company. I talked about how, like, it's going to be crime families. Like, your dad would be a criminal. His drug mentor was his mom's friend. So his mom wasn't a criminal, but like the person that got him in the game was his mom's friend. He owned a rental car company, and I said like that's like the loophole in the law to sell drugs. You rented a car, you're not even from there. There were drugs in my car. I don't even own that car. Like what? How? What are you're telling me that someone from the rental car company put drugs in my car? I had no idea. So he had no idea either. He's out of jail because Donald Trump got him out of jail. He's seen 32 to 42 killings in prison. He kills people in public. Like he said, like this other guy said he will kill someone in public. And what he said is Trump said that, and trust me, no one even noticed the way Trump is. Like he's the guy that basically says it in that documentary. He's like, Trump's the kingpin of like the entire mafia. Because Bo Diddley has been described that way by the guy that I talked about, that's a Miami boy. So, Trump got that guy out of jail, having 8 or 9 or 10 corrupted judges. There's a lot of police corruption in the Epstein documents. after I found out about Convertible Burt, because Convertible Burt? No. Convertible Burt's not, no, like he's not that, no, he's not a very big deal. No, not Convertible Burt. It's the other guy, the guy that's dead. So he knows McBride was a major crack player in the crack game in the 70s. Like for me, McBride like is a person that I know from Rainbow Family that's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they got crack from the Merry Pranksters, as weird as it sounds, because I know they sold meth. So when he was 10, 11, or 12, but that doesn't mean it's McBride, but McBride knows the Merry Pranksters, like he's friends with those people. So he was a lookout for the drug dealers when he was a kid. So right now I keep in contact with, I couldn't understand him, Michael Corleone from Brazil, Griselda, like, I don't know. I tried to do subtitles and it said Griselda. And because he was trying to, like, he asked him if he knows people connected to Escobar, like Pablo Escobar. He was in the federal penitentiary with Larry Hoover and Big Meech. Larry Hoover was the head of GED, the Gangster Disciples. Like he talked about, like when he went up, like when they saw each other, he's like, real recognize real. And so, but Big Meech ran into him at a Tyson fight in Atlantic City. I guess there were two Tyson fights. One was like a minute long. And I think that if he was talking about the one that's like a minute long, he would have been like, you remember that Tyson fight that's like it was like over immediately? He knocked him out. That's probably what he would have said about that fight. He ran into Big Meech there. But instead, he said he ran into Big Meech at the Tyson fight in Atlantic City, which means I think he was there with Trump. Because if the Tyson fight's at Trump Plaza, well, of course he was at the Tyson fight. He's putting on the Tyson fight. Like he would never not be at the Tyson fight. He's hosting fights at the White House right now. He needs to go see the fight. So Convertible Burt said that the maximum amount of drugs he ever got at one time, he slowly went up to it, was 500 kilos. I figured out that's 142,000 8 balls. And if 142,000 8 balls is enough to like take care of like maybe like 20% of like Chicago for a day probably. So he's claiming that like he's really not that high up of a drug dealer, but it sounds like he was like a big connect between like the Atlanta Miami connection. And it sounds like he went to prison, but he knows the secret. What you guys need to do is you don't need to sell drugs. You need to do advertisements for Coca-Cola. You can do advertisements for Pepsi. Like you need to understand that you can do something else to make money. You need to be like him. Like you can go make advertisements for Shiner Bock. Like you can go make advertisements for Coors Light. And the last thing I want to mention, because like if there's anything you need to know, it's really just not Convertible Burt. Like he's a drug. No, like he used to be a drug dealer. Like for 5 years, like it's just not Convertible Burt. Like of anyone you can say it is, it's just not Convertible Burt. And why is his name Convertible Burt? Because he was the first rapper to have a convertible. So all the other rappers are copying him now because he had a convertible, and it's kind of his thing is convertibles, and they all copy him. So that's why all the rappers have convertibles now. But it really, like, he was the first rapper to have a Rolls Royce. And so, like, all the other rappers now, like, they want to have Rolls Royces. Like, you can hear them, like, they have songs, like, they have a song called Rolls Royce. And, like, that's because, like, Convertible Burt started that. But really, like, he was friends with Big Meech, and I think he probably met him at the Trump Plaza fight. That's my guess. Because he didn't say, like, oh, that fight that was, like, a minute. You remember that fight that was, like, a minute with Tyson? No, he was like, yeah, I was at the Tyson fight in Atlantic City, and I think that would be with Trump, and that means, like, their cars are there getting, like, a big drop-off probably. Like, moving drugs probably to somewhere like Atlanta, so that it can move from Atlanta to like Knoxville or something like that. I'm too tired to talk about any more of these guys, but this guy is the biggest criminal he's ever had on the Connect Pod. He's a truck driver. You know, he kind of just so happened to hang out with a Jamaican once that sold weed, and so he noticed he could sell drugs. It was his mom. What happened is that, like, he had a mom and she had a boyfriend, and I think he used to like sell drugs like all over the place, and like he didn't even notice it. He'd count the money for him, and then he ended up started selling drugs. So that guy would be Alexander to me. He worked for the largest transportation company in the auto industry. He got his pot from Eureka and Redding. Yeah, I'd definitely never be surprised if he got it from Eureka or like meth and stuff like that from Eureka. Redding is like our number one suspect for like super criminals. He gets pot everywhere. He gets drugs from the Mexicans in Long Beach. That guy, the biggest criminal ever, gets drugs from the Mexicans in Long Beach. It's the black people. And if you've been in the game enough, I know for a fact you're full of shit, which is funny because he works for the DEA. But here's the thing about this guy. You guys have to know about him. He had a very bad reputation. I used to talk too much, and above all, I was always fighting. Never with the musicians, of course, but with the patrons at the bar who were drunk. What happened is I would dance with my instrument and hump and seduce the women with my very sexual musical skills. I can't read because my thumb's over it, but he was handsome, and then the guys were jealous, and it was enough to just get in fights because they were so jealous of how sexy he was. That guy changes in sexiness, and that's why I really don't know if he's my brother's twin. I tried to find him like where I could like see him better. I couldn't see him, but he got busted with the largest amount of cocaine that he ever purchased. 55 kilos, which like if you're under 1,000 kilos, I mean, I don't know. He knows how much drugs you can move. Like he was pretty sure that 55 was the most that he works for the DEA now. We can trust him. 55 is the most you ever sold. I don't know about that.